All right. So M'Benga consults the Peregrine's medical logs, showing postmortem of one of the Gorn. Spock notes the Gorn's genetic makeup allowed them to hide from the sensors, which is why M'Benga had not detected the eggs inside of Buckley. However, he does know the incubation cycle of the Gorn depend on the species. With Orions, it took weeks. With humans, days. So there's that difference in there.
Plus, that blue guy is an unknown species.
Right, so we'd have no idea what he's doing. Hemmer enters at that moment, confirming this and saying it burned quite tremendously, the spray he took there. Pike knows that Hemmer has rules about telepathy, but wonders if that applies to enemies who are trying to eat them. Spock makes a statement that he considers the Gorn to be rather impressive with their genetic coding and everything. Kirk kind of loses his stuff right here. He starts calling him names that would make McCoy blush in a few years.
Pointy-eared computer.
Yep. He reminds them that they watched Duke get killed and eaten basically right in front of them by these things. There's the pointy-eared computer line. Pike puts an end to the argument and tries to focus them back on the mission. Hemmer reports that the navigation systems are the only thing left to restore, meaning their mission was more or less complete. Pike sees the crew's ability to work together as an advantage. And M'Benga points out that the younglings were too fast to hunt, so they needed to create a choke point to trap them. How many are still running around at this point? 2 or 3?
I think 2. But again, as soon as he said that, I was like, oh, so like a pack of raptors.
Yeah.
From Jurassic Park. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Both Leanne and Spock concur, calling it to be a very logical move. The Gorn avoid the cold, so Leanne suggests using environment controls to draw the Gorn to somewhere where they wanted them. And Pike approves of this, puts the crew to work. Pike and M'Benga, one of them with Ariana on his back, enter the Peregrine's bridge, the doctor depositing his patient in the captain's chair. The temperature begins to decrease across the ship, except for the warm oasis in one of the cargo bays where Spock and Hemmer are waiting. Spock asks Hemmer if he's okay. Elsewhere, Chapel asks if Leanne is all right, and the security chief replies that there was nothing else she wanted to do than fight against the Gorn. She fires off a shot to attract its attention and breaks into a run. Kirk remarks how Uhura is really good at everything, and I like that they did this here, because they didn't really point it out in the old show, but, you would see scenes where Uhura was, like, under the computer setups on the bridge of the Enterprise and, like, underneath and soldering wires and circuits back into place and making repairs. And they never really pointed out that she was, like, an all-around skilled member of the crew who didn't just look good in a miniskirt.
To be fair, though, there's the old adage of, show, don't tell. So it showed you that Uhura was a badass at everything. It just didn't specifically say it until now.
Yeah. But I just like that they did here kind of give credit where it's due. But yeah, you're right. When you're writing, you do want to show, not tell. That being said, I like that they're taking these characters that were kind of background characters and actually giving them their props.
Yeah.
Pike detects that it's going into the vent system, it being the Gorn, and warns Spock, who is armed with Buckley's stun stick. Spock lets loose several bursts to try to get its attention, but it does not respond. Spock takes a moment to think of seeing Duke being pulled screaming down the corridor and kind of does like a weird reverse meditation to, instead of handle his rage, to like accept it and move it through and work with it. And then he gets a murder boner again, because Spock is real susceptible to those these days. They get the two Gorn trapped, so they begin turning on each other. Leon tells Hemmer that she is coming his way and steps back into the corridor. She tosses aside her phaser and begins shouting a challenge to the Gorn, saying that she was unarmed and demanding that it come at her and fight, one-on-one, mano-y-mano, like Batman versus the Joker at the end of the old Adam West series, The Gorn begins charging at her, and Leon breaks off running towards the cargo bay. Hemmer has secured himself in a cargo pod while Leon leaps into another and closes the hatch. As the Gorn tries to break through the glass door, she shouts at Hemmer to act, and the chief engineer activates the environmental protocol, blasting the Gorn with super cold air. La'an emerges from the ice-encased pod and finds a Gorn frozen solid and smashes it to pieces with looks like an iron bar. I'm guessing it was an iron bar or something.